Hi there and welcome to this edition of Startup Central. I'm Nayantara. This is the only show of its kind on Indian television dedicated, of course, to startups, innovation, technology, disruption. Basically, if it falls under the gambit of the new economy, it's going to be here on your favorite channel, ET Now, every weekday at sharp 6 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, like all the stakeholders of the startup community that we feature on this show, the team that puts the show together, the Startup Central team, thrives on constructive criticism. So keep writing into us. We really cherish your emails. Tell us how to do it differently, what you need to see added to the show, what we should remove, mix things up. Write into us. Our email address right on top, suc@etnow.tv. Imagine growing 300% a year back to back. That's right, 2 consecutive years growing 300%. That's my next guest, Harshil Mathur, the co-founder at Razorpay. So you know there is no small base effect at play out either over here. We're talking about Razorpay here, a leading fintech that we have in the country. Harshil, tell us more, because the numbers that were shared by your team, I was like, what?
Yeah, I think it has been a great year for us. I think with COVID and work from home and people staying back at home, online payments have grown by leaps and bounds. And I think as a company, we are one of the big beneficiaries of that. One of the things that we have always focused on is digitizing small businesses. And the kind of growth small businesses saw in the last 2 years is unimaginable. And I think the numbers just reflect that. So yeah, we've grown. We had set last year, we were at $15 billion. We set a very ambitious goal of achieving $50 billion by this year. And we overachieved it by $10 billion, right? So we've hit $60 billion of payment volume. And I think it just continues to grow. So we expect like by next year, we should be at 90 billion plus, given the pace at which this is growing. And I think that's a very exciting space to be in.
Okay, so let me just break it down for our viewers. You know, these are not notional figures, valuations. These are actual figures, right? Like what has happened on the Razorpay platform, the business that you have helped enable transactions worth, let me get this straight, $60 billion for this year, and you're hoping to hit $90 billion in the new year. Harshil, what kind of market share are you garnering?
Yeah, so see, our focus is specifically internet-first businesses. We are very strongly focused on that as a segment, and most of our growth has come in because internet-first as a category has been growing. So while there is a large payments market out there, we are very, very clear that we want to power all internet-first merchants in this country, and we want to be the de facto choice. Break it down further, right? Like one of the reasons that we have grown this much or scaled this much is because if you look at this was a remarkable year for internet merchants, right? Like we had 42 unicorns, if I count yesterday's unicorns, 42 unicorns that companies that were formed as unicorns this year. We power almost 34 of them. I think so. In fact, we are not able to power some of them because we don't support crypto yet, but 34 out of 42. And that is the kind of milestone that we are trying to choose. That internet-first companies, we want to be the de facto choice. So as these companies scale up and become unicorns and decacorns, we have the lion's share of such unicorns.
And Harshil, you know, you're clearly looking to also have your hand in a lot of jars, right? When it comes to Razorpay and your plans, like you come up with a suite of products now, which are not your typical core. Tell us about that. For example, paying taxes in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so our vision has always been that we want to build the single financial platform for businesses. So basically, if you are a business today, you start with Razorpay and you're able to do everything on the same platform when it comes to managing money. So whether it's receiving money through a payment gateway, whether it's managing money on your bank account through neo-banking, or whether it's getting access to credit through our capital offering. And the launches that are happening today are in that same line, right? Like what does a business do with their money and how can we help simplify that? So we started a journey with payroll, and we are one of the fastest growing payroll solutions out there, helping businesses manage salary payments and tax payments on the salary side of things. Similarly, we did vendor payments, and now the third offering that we are doing is tax payments. Tax is one thing that a lot of entrepreneurs and founders struggle a lot with because you have to pay TDS, TCS, advanced tax, GST, and so many different kind of taxes. And you have systems for computing the tax, but there's no system that helps you pay all of these taxes in a simple format. So you have to go and deal with complex government portals to pay all of these taxes. So what we have essentially done is we create a single dashboard of all your taxes. So you compute your taxes, you put it there, and with a single click, you can make all of those payments. Like imagine doing tax, all of these 4 or 5 tax payments within 30 seconds. That's where you're getting the ecosystem to. And I think that's important, right? If you want to increase tax compliance and all those things, you need to make it easy for people to pay taxes. So that is the first product. The second thing that we are launching today is Magic Checkout. Today we power about 8 million businesses on our platform, and whenever you shop on a small business today online, you have to enter your name, your phone number, your email ID, your address, your zip code, your payment instrument, all of those things every time. And a lot of customers just look at that and walk away and say, hey, I'll buy it on Amazon and Flipkart. I don't want to enter all of these details over and over again. So we are solving that to the power of Razorpay's ecosystem, where once you enter these details once on any Razorpay merchant, you don't have to enter these details ever again. We'll take care of it and we'll handle it end to end. So imagine like being able to magically go to a small merchant, choose a product, do the payment, and done. Right? We know everything that you need to enter. We know the payment instrument that you typically use. Everything is pre-filled. You just need to do the OTP authentication and you're done. I think that will fundamentally change the way consumers today transact with small businesses. I think we are very excited about it. And with the 100 merchants that we've gone live with on this, we have seen a reduction of payment time, completion time at 60%. On the merchant side, we have seen a conversion increase of 20%. And this is just with 100 merchants. Imagine 8 million businesses doing this.
Oh, yeah. An explosion, right? That's exactly what you are betting on, Harshil. What we've also seen is, and can I say it, UPI to the moon. At a monetary policy committee meet, the RBI governor talking about UPI, the next trigger. I know that's typically not your domain as such, but what we've also seen from the RBI now is talking about a discussion paper on payments on all things digital, whether it's from credit cards, debit cards, UPI. Would love to get your views on this.
Yeah, so I think the policy that came out yesterday was very, very positive, right? Like a lot of steps in that. For example, increasing UPI limits for specific transactions like IPO transactions and stuff. I think that was very exciting. Building something like UPI for feature phone, allowing small value payments to happen on device. I think these are really, really breakthrough innovations that RBI is really coming up with. And I think one of the reasons our ecosystem is growing very rapidly is because the regulator is very innovative, right? Like they come up with that, okay, this is the way things should be. And I think that just gives a lot of push to entirety of the ecosystem to rally together and drive things. We've seen that with UPI, and we continue to see that with a lot of these changes that are happening. I think that's an exciting era to live in, right? Where the regulator and the ecosystem and the merchants and the consumers are working together to see what makes sense and how do we digitize this country together. I think it's going to be really exciting to see when this discussion paper rolls out and how can we really collaborate again with the regulator like we have done with UPI, like we have done with Autopay. How can we do those similar things on some of these new initiatives?
I've got to ask you one question, Harshil, before I let you go. Fintech is exploding. You've got Sequoia Capital saying $500 billion in a couple of years. I'm not trying to talk about anyone or talk against anyone, but there are certain events which have happened, right, as far as fintech is concerned in the last couple of weeks. I'm, of course, talking about the Paytm IPO. Without getting into that, what has it meant for a company like yours or other fintech companies' valuations? We are in the era of easy money, but we've also seen the bigger ones get rewarded, get chased by better investors. Where has that left all of you?
Yeah, so I think you are right. We are in an era of easy money. I think money is not a differentiator anymore. It used to be like a couple of years back where if you raise a lot of money, you could really crush your competition out and just win with that. And that's one of the reasons that people really looked up at funding announcements and say, hey, these guys have raised $200 million. They're going to crush everyone. I think that's not true anymore, right? Like money is available. If you're losing because of money, there'll be somebody who will coming in and giving you that money and you'll be able to do. So I think the differentiator needs to be to stem more than money. And I think that's what investors and everyone else is looking for now. Because everyone has realized that, like, even if I put $500 million in a company, it doesn't mean that the company will be successful. So there needs to be a lot more. And I think that's what companies such as ours is always focused on that. And that's why I keep saying, like, these product launches are the reason that we continue to grow, right? Like, so whenever we do funding announcements, we say that funding is great and it helps us grow. But our growth is coming because we launch products. We are a product company in the end, and that is what differentiates us. So these 3 products that we're launching this case, and that's what excites me, because those are the things that will create value for our customers, and the customers will want to come back to me. It is not because of the funding that we have raised. It's not because of the size of company we are. All of those things don't really matter to the merchants that we serve. What they really care about is our product solving their problem. And I think that has to be the case for everyone else in the ecosystem as well. I think what the last 3-4 months have shown us is essentially that if you create value for your customers, and if you are able to generate revenue from those customers, and if your unit economics are positive and all of those things, everyone in the ecosystem will reward you for it. And I think we have seen some very, very successful IPOs, right? We have seen the Policy Bazaar IPO, the way that has gone, the Zomato IPO, the way that has gone, and Nykaa IPO, the way that has gone. All of that has also shown us that like investors don't look at startups as a category and non-startups as a category. They look at every company independently. And if there's a company that has good economics, they'll reward it. If it doesn't have, they would not reward it. It doesn't matter whether you're a startup or a traditional company. You need to show that the basic economics of the company need to make sense. And as long as that is there, you'll get rewarded for it.
Harshil, my last question to you as we come to the close of this year. You clearly have big plans. I'm just seeing, the announcement as far as how you've beaten your own records. You're coming out with a whole host of products. But there has been a trend. So you tell us about that. Social commerce, is it really a thing? Leads from social media as well. Is it really a thing? Because you would actually have proper on-ground data on how it's all panning out.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is growing massively. Right? Like we power a lot of social commerce platforms, but more interesting than that, I'll tell you, we have this platform called Payment Links through which people can create links and paste it anywhere on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and allow people to buy things directly, right? And there's no website, there's no app. They just put these links on their Instagram profiles and say people, you can click here and buy things. Today, like around 20 to 30% of our payments on these links are originating from social media apps. Right, because people are just going to these apps, looking at an influencer who's posting a photo of a purse or a photo of a cupcake and saying, go to my profile, click this link and buy it. And people are just buying that. And that behavior has grown up, like scale up by almost 300% during the pandemic. Just because like people are staying at home, spending more time on social media, finding interesting stuff and just buying it. So it is there to stay, right? Like people are doing it and finding their own ways to do it, even with or without the platforms as well, right? Like, for example, Instagram and WhatsApp don't have a payment ecosystem today. They're trying to get there, but it doesn't exist today. People are figuring out themselves how to create a link on Razorpay and put it there and transact. So it just shows the amount of effort they're willing to undertake to ensure that this happens. So it is an exciting space. I'm sure a lot of amazing commerce will get built on top of social media in the next couple of years.
So Harshil, you've also come out with a product which is going to allow faster checkout, I believe. We are the country's India's the second largest internet economy out there. Things are pretty fast enough, but you're hoping to disrupt that, to get a larger market share. And with this happening and the other product you just talked about of generating a link, without doing so, you're also kind of entering the consumer segment.
Yeah, you're right. I think, as a company, we are not a consumer company, so we don't want to build products just for consumers, but we do build products on consumer side that help our merchants. And I think you're very right when you see that the checkout piece that we are launching, right, is kind of a consumer offering, because as a consumer, you can store your profile with Razorpay and you can use that profile across all merchants that you transact with through Razorpay platform today. But our purposes are different. Like our purpose is not to monetize you as a consumer. Our purpose is to help our merchants being able to provide you a better experience. So that is the only difference between us and a consumer company, that we don't look at consumer as a monetization as a credential. Our metrics are based around a merchant and how they are able to gain out of it. But I think it's important as an ecosystem to solve it, because one of the fundamental challenges I see that a small merchant is still not able to offer an experience equal to a Amazon or Flipkart, because as a consumer you have to undertake so many steps when you transact on a small merchant. That is something we want to change. We want to ensure that a small merchant today, you start a website today, you are able to offer a kind of experience that an Amazon or a Flipkart is able to do to your consumer right on day one. And I think this magic checkout allows us to do just that. So I think it will just fundamentally change the way people look at small businesses. Today, you go to a website, you see something interesting, you feel, hey, I have to do so many steps. I don't know if it is worth it. I don't want to enter all of these details right now. Versus if you knew that you could press one button and complete the transaction, right? I think that is the kind of change that we want to bring for small and medium businesses in India.
And here's wishing you all the very best as you do that, Harshil. Thanks a lot for your time on your big day.
Thank you so much.